your questions are answered. This is Observer AM.
26 minutes after 8 o'clock in Antigua, Barbuda. This is Observer AM. Just to remind you that you need to check out Ginger Lily at Heritage Key. They're having a blowout sale on everything in the store. That starts on Saturday, October the 1st for 1 week. They open at 10 a.m. in the morning, close at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and bear all of that in mind, and that's on a daily basis. Now we're turning our focus on to the Climate Change Innovation Center. Building an enabling ecosystem to foster high growth and sustainable enterprises throughout the Caribbean is the objective of the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center, or CCIC. Joining us now is the Interim Project Manager, Mrs. Marcia Henry, and the Marketing Officer for the CCIC, Miss Cashyaka McDonald. Both are in Antigua for the kickoff of the Green Tech Project here in Antigua and Barbuda. Ladies, good morning. Welcome. Having one of those mornings.
Good morning.
Yes, thanks so much for joining us. Cashyaka, we'll start first with you. What is the primary function of the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center?
The primary function of the CCIC is to develop the clean technology startup ecosystem across the Caribbean. So what we do, we have these various workshops and events, such as our boot camp that we're happening today, and our accelerator, which is a longer-term program, to educate and grow our startup companies that are focusing on our 5 thematic areas, that is renewable energy efficiency, resource use efficiency, as well as sustainable agribusinesses, and water and waste management. And as we know, in Antigua, there is a need for alternative water solutions, and this is one of the main issues. And that's all of our events are focusing on finding out what is the need in each region and help to develop technologies that can address that.
Now, for all practical intents and purposes, when we're speaking of alternative water, what are we referring to? Could you give a description or an example?
Okay, so there's a lot of companies that can use, they have a basin where they can use the areas that are a high fog area. They can condense the fog and get water, and that can nourish the soil for gardening, as well as you can recycle your water that you use for showering, and that can be funneled through various systems and nourish the soil. So there's a lot of alternative ways to use it.
All right. We turn our attention now to the Interim Project Manager, Mrs. Marcia Henry. Good morning, Ms. Henry.
Good morning.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. What is the Green Tech Project?
Caribbean Climate Innovation Center is focused on, as you said in your introduction, building the ecosystem in the Caribbean for green technology. So anything that addresses resource use efficiency, anything that will reduce our fossil fuel usage, reduce our carbon emissions, look at efficiently using our resources is green technology. So because of the climate challenges, we use technologies that will reduce our negative impact on the environment.
All right. And what is going to be involved in the Island Hop Boot Camp?
The project we do, as Cashyaka said, is we look for entrepreneurs. So we are looking at the business side of climate change. What are the opportunities that exist in the Caribbean that we can seize while we are addressing the issues of climate change? So we are giving the entrepreneurs in the region an opportunity for them to focus on the business opportunities that are available through mitigation and adaptation of climate change. So the project really is to go to the 14 Caribbean countries that are in our hub network and to facilitate them to help in identifying these entrepreneurs and giving them the tools to build their ideas or their existing businesses to go regional, if not global. So what we do is at the boot camps, we help persons who have ideas in addressing the challenges around climate change to develop prototypes, develop products or services that can be sold and to create jobs through their businesses, create income earning opportunities within the region, while at the same time addressing the climate change challenges.
Cashyaka, what are some of the examples that we could use as good opportunities for business in terms of being able to provide an income stream from, climate change adaptation?
Right. So once the persons come with their ideas, we give them the training in 3 areas: marketing, the technical development of prototypes, and the business development. Because a lot of them, they just have the idea, but will my idea work? Can it become a business? Is it addressing a problem? So we start out with helping the entrepreneurs to do market validation. They need to go, they need to interview people, they need to be sure that the problems that they are addressing are the real problems. Because sometimes you find that persons have an idea, but is it addressing a significant problem? Is there how big is their total addressable market? Can it be sustained? So we help them to do this market research and to validate the market, and then we help them in building prototypes, in testing the prototypes on the market. And once there is a market need, there is a sizable market demand for it, then we help them now in developing, getting their first customers and in developing the business side, the legal, the financial, the accounting, all of that. Right. How to manage your human resources and so on.
Have there been any projects that have been initiated or have been started by this exercise that have, done fairly well? Any examples that you can share with us?
When we started in 2013, we had a proof of concept competition where we had 11 companies across the Caribbean that were selected, and 2 of our selected participants was from Antigua. And that is Mr. Elliot Lincoln from Denver Biofuels, as well as Mr. Mario Bento from Caribbean Water Solutions. So we have a lot of various companies that are existing already. Mm-hmm. And now what we're doing, our various boot camps right now that is going across. So we have an Island Hop series now that is going on. And Antigua is our stop. And then we're going on to Barbuda, Belize and Dominica in the coming months. And from following that, we have our accelerator program in which we help these companies go to market, because it's a 6-month program where we give them the mentorship, because we're heavy on mentorship. We're heavy on the guidance of mentorship. And from there, the aim is to get them into market at the end of the 6 months. So we have a lot of established companies already, and two of our major companies are Antigua. And they are also mentors at this boot camp.
All right. And that's actually taking place here in Antigua. How many participants do you have at this boot camp? Are you able to share that with us?
Yeah, we have 22 registered, but unfortunately, Tropical Storm Matthew is affecting our attendance. But we have 14 that are actively participating now. And in our accelerator program, we have 3 companies that are going through the program, 1 from St. Lucia and 2 from Jamaica. We're hoping that through the Island Hop series, we will recruit at least 7 more to make it up to 10. And the extension is to build the hubs in the Caribbean so that we can have the accelerator program happening in each country. So we're looking at building our ecosystem through our hubs, and the Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority. They are our hub in Antigua, headed by Ms. Jacqueline Yearwood, and they have been providing a lot of support. They are the ones actually coordinating the program on the ground here in Antigua, and we really want to thank them for their cooperation with us, and we look we look forward to a continued relationship where we can have a green tech accelerator happening in Antigua.
All right. Now, going back to Mrs. Henry, do you find that the countries throughout the region, Antigua, of course, being no exception to that, are being more responsive to climate change adaptation and to the potential for business opportunities in this sphere?
Yes, on our way here, we see you have a big solar energy farm, which is a big thing. And with the participants that we have, they are looking at areas like aquaponics. I think the persons in the region just need the opportunity, like we're providing, to know that business opportunities exist through adaptation and mitigation of climate change.
Our assistant is here, we're providing the guidance, so they're not alone.
Right.
So these events is there to enlighten individuals, and when we just need to have a continuous relationship and it happening not just one time. That needs to happen multiple times so people can know that it's out there, and have various sensitization workshops and events. And even I believe we should go more into the schools. So there's a lot of opportunities for growth and future collaboration.
Which country in the region do you think is at the tip of the spear in terms of renewable energy and should be a good example for other territories to follow?
Well, I don't know if we can answer that correctly, but
okay.
We have, I see a renewable energy project here. Jamaica has wind energy and solar energy. So I think each country is trying. I don't know if we can give you the statistics. We don't have the full picture of what's happening, but I know each country is looking at their resources and how best. And I think we have to give kudos to Antigua for their work in solar energy.
All right. What is the...
Also, and kudos for the events that are happening in the upcoming months, or the energy month that is coming up. So that is a major step in making people aware.
Right, certainly. It is now 22 minutes to 9 o'clock here in Antigua, Barbuda. We're going to pause for a few messages and we're going to continue our discussion with the folks from the CCIC, Caribbean Climate Innovation Center. 19 minutes to 9 o'clock here in Antigua, Barbuda. This is Observer AM. We are in the final portions of our discussion with our friends from the Climate Change Innovation Center. I have on the line Mrs. Marcia Henry. She's the Interim Project Manager. And we have Cashyaka McDonald, and she is the Marketing Officer for the said entity. Coming back to you, Cashyaka, in relation to the impact of climate change adaptation. Have there been any studies? Is there any information out there that actually points to the viability, the financial impact that proper and viable climate change adaptation can have on a small economy?
Yes, there's a lot of information that is out there. And our next aspect, what we do when we're going to do all these events, we have our idea generation sessions, as we were saying, and we got all the key experts within the region. So we have representatives from APUA, we had various consultants, and they are on their research. They know what is happening in the country, and then they provide us that information, that statistic. And when we gather that information, we put it out there in various means for participants or individuals who are curious to get that knowledge. Also, there is a lot of other reports that is done by the various government entities that is out there as well. So the information is there. We just need to have a centralized location where we can just find it. And that is what the CCIC is here, is to help people be aware of what is out there.
Just to give you an example,
sure.
For example, in Jamaica, we address wastewater management. In the Kingston region, for example, the aquifer that Kingston sits on is not usable because of the intrusion of nitrogen, the agricultural and domestic runoff. So what we have done in Jamaica is to develop a system where we can contain wastewater from our factories, our domestic households, and from the agricultural sector. We contain it and produce biogas from it. So now, for example, in the Kingston region, if you are building a set of townhouses, apartments, you have to show that your wastewater is being managed to prevent it from leaking into our aquifers. And this is one way of protecting our scarce water resource. So instead of just running off wastewater into our rivers, into our streams, and which eventually affect our coastal waters. And I mean, Antigua, the Caribbean region, which are small island developing states, depend immensely on tourism. So we cannot afford for our reefs or our beaches to be adversely affected. So we have to address how we manage wastewater. And this is a technology that the consortium member for CCIC in Jamaica, the Scientific Research Council, we have the technology to assist companies, assist households in how to manage our wastewater so that we protect our environment.
Do you think that this is an area in which the Caribbean region could establish some comparative advantage in the global economy, in the climate change economy? I believe we've lost our connection with Mrs. Project Manager there, Miss Henry. Cashyaka, you still on the line with us? Oh, they're both on one line. Okay, all right. So I guess that's a wrap, yeah? Because